Though one of the more visually standout moments in the sequel, cinematographer Greg Fraser reveals that Dune, Part 2's black and white planet initially scared Warner Bros. Adapting the second half of Frank Herbert's sci-fi epic novel. The movie introduced the ruthless Harkonnen warrior Phaedratha with a sequence set on his home planet of Jeed Prime, in which he's seen battling Roger Yuan's Lieutenant Lonville in a gladiator arena. Unlike the rest of the movie, Fraser and director Denis Villeneuve set the entire sequence in black and white, giving a striking introduction to Phaedratha in the sequel. During a recent interview with Screen Rant for the movie's home release, Greg Fraser reflected on the creation process of Dune, Part 2's black and white planet sequence. When asked what the biggest challenge was in the Jeed Prime scene, the cinematographer recalled that it was the initial pushback from Warner Bros. Over this appearance, namely as it was the first one the team shot on stage and left the studio asking about potential changes, only for Fraser and Villeneuve to stick to their guns and followed the heart, not the head. Check out what Fraser explained below. Why it was important for Dune, Part 2's Jeed Prime to be in black and white. On the heels of the movie's release, Fraser and Villeneuve had offered extensive explanations behind Dune, Part 2's black and white approach to depicting Jeed Prime, including the in-universe rules they had for why they took this visual approach. Fraser, in particular, noted that the reason for this is that the sun puts out more infrared rays than the likes of Caladan and Arrakis, which in turn leads to exterior scenes essentially leaving everything that the sun hits washed out. Villeneuve, on the other hand, expanded on this by noting that it actually came from the Dune book, namely the fact that there's less information in Herbert's source material about Jeed Prime since they are a world that is disconnected from nature. In turn, the director felt it was vital to create this black and white appearance in order to better highlight their brutalist culture that had already been set up in the first movie with their savage destruction of the House Atreides in order to take over control of Arrakis. This theme was ultimately even more important for Phaedratha's Dune, Part 2 introduction, however, given his nature as being a direct foil to Timothée Chalamet's Paul Atreides. While both births were plotted by the Bene Gesserit in the hopes of creating the Kwisatz Haderach, the black and white color scheme largely aligns with Phaedratha's nature of an unmoving and violent being who could very well bring about the downfall of all society if he had risen further in power, all while Paul represents a more compassionate and intelligent figure only resorting to violence when necessary.